Hey, welcome to another episode of Let's Create Games. This is number 7, I think. And this is about animating objects in CreateJS, which is a JavaScript library, and about libraries in general. Okay, that's the example from the last tutorial where we drew two shapes. And we did this with CreateJS, which is a library, a JavaScript library, which helps us making things easier. And having said that, there are a number of libraries out there, and yes, they're all good, and no, there's not one way to do everything good. It depends very much on what you're trying to do. So probably CreateJS won't be the only library we're going to look at, but it's very good, feature complete one. And by the way, the documentation is in the various modules. There are tons of demos there. And you might want to have the online documentation handy. But let's look a short look on other libraries that we might want to use. Quintus is one library from Pascal Rettig, which looks awesome too, and it has a very nice platformer demo, which we might want to check out. And just to make things more interesting, there's also a library called voxel.js, which again is a JavaScript library which tends to do things the Minecraft way. And we can look at an example. Again, this is all JavaScript in the browser, and it's working like we expect it to work, a little bit at least. And this is just to make things more interesting. And as you can see, this is all, well, you could say not rocket science. Well, it is. There are very smart people out there programming all this, and we can use that, and most of them giving it away in an open source way, which is a very, very cool thing. And thanks to all the guys who do this. So I guess we'll dig into these other libraries later on. For now, we keep sticking with CreateJS, again, which is a suite containing several other components. So let's see how we can move things, and let's see how we can start from here. So I guess we'll dig into these other libraries later on. For now, we keep sticking with CreateJS, again, which is a suite containing several other components. So let's see how we can move things, and let's see how we can start from here. So this is the example from the last tutorial, from number 6. And first of all, we start with the guys of CreateJS fame. Had the wonderful idea to abbreviate some of the commands so that things get smaller, and they started with no, they didn't start with it probably, but you can shortcut begin fill to an F, and you can shortcut draw a circle to DC, and draw a rectangle to DR, and it should still work. Yes, it does. So things get a little bit easier to write, less good to remember. You can use both, so your choice. So how can we animate things? Usually this is done by having a so-called rendering loop where things get updated. Yes, that's where this update stems from. So we want to introduce a so-called ticker, which happens to be called all, let's say, 25 or 60 frames per second, and which updates things on the stage. So we add an event listener, like that. Again, this is CreateJS. This is a class called ticker, and there's a call to handle tick, which we have to put in there. And in this function, stage update gets called. So if we just start it like that, nothing will happen because nothing is moving. So yes, it's working, but no, it's not moving. So let's make it move. So if we want to move the rectangle, we can directly set the coordinates of the rectangle like so. We know that the rectangle is shape 2, so s2.x equals 100 sets the rectangle to the x coordinate 100. But that's not what we want. We want something dynamic. So we want to have something like s2.x plus something, let's say plus 1. If we do that, yes, it moves. And maybe that's all we want to do, then we are done. But as we can see, the rectangle will move out of the canvas soon. And let's say we want to bounce it back. So the number 1 actually is some kind of a velocity. So let's introduce a variable called dx. And let's put this to 5 so that moves a little bit faster. Exchange this to dx. So yes, this is working nicely. And now we have to check whether it is on the right boundary or not. And we do this by introducing an if statement, which looks like that. If everything in here is true, then do this. So if s2x, the x coordinate, is larger than the canvas width, then turn the sign of dx around. So if we start with a 5, then dx equals minus dx gives a minus 5. So let's try this. That's nice. Only that we have 2 borders, so we introduce another if statement handling the left border. First of all, we don't want to have trouble with the coordinates, so we reset the coordinates over here to 0, 0, and we copy that, paste it, and then we say if s2x is smaller than 0, which is the left corner, then again turn this around. So let's see if this works. Yes, it does. So the only thing is missing that we don't take the width of the rectangle into account. So knowing that the width is 70, we simply subtract 70 from the width so that it's moving back earlier. We need to introduce parentheses. This is very important. That's math, sorry. So if we do that, yes, this works nicely. So if we want to have this in x and y coordinates, we do the same thing with dy, which is, let's say we have dy equals 7, and copy this. And copy that. Now we have to be careful. We need height here. And the rectangle was 50. The height was 50, so if everything worked, and it did, we have a moving rectangle which bounces back from the borders of the canvas. I think this could be a little bit smoother, so we can make the frame rate higher, like we add something to the ticker, which is set interval is, I don't remember exactly, but set frames per second does mean that we have 40 frames per second. And if we run this again, we see that this is a lot smoother. but it's probably something that has to do with the performance of the browser and the computer in general. I don't know how good this works in mobile devices. So then again, this is moving nicely. So if we make it less hectic, okay, that's cool. So that's how you do animation. And the next thing that we're looking at is user interaction with these objects, because, well, it should be a game. So we want to interact with these objects over here. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.